So you are probably wondering why I am all dolled up right now. And this actually ties into the story, so I'll get to that in a moment. But first, I'm going to ask you this question. Have you ever wondered why the hell smart, successful, beautiful, amazing, talented people still have no luck in love? Well, I wondered this for a very long time. First of all, one thing you need to know about me is even though I absolutely love my life, I am currently single. And I'm single by choice now. It's not from a place of desperation. But when I was a lot younger, I fell into that fairy tale dream of meeting that Prince Charming who was just going to sweep me off my feet. And this is a problem that a lot of us get into. And this is why a lot of relationships end up becoming really toxic. This is also why we attract the wrong people into our life, the people that are only in it for what they can get from us, whether it's sex or just somebody to hang out with just until somebody better comes along and then they cheat on you, or someone who drains you dry and uses you as like their source of money, like gold diggers, for instance. But also on the other side of that, men who seem to have a lot of prestige and money, who then use beautiful women to basically elevate their status, but then they don't really love their partner and then they go and step out on them. And that's why you see a lot of these celebrities that are with these gorgeous, absolutely fantastic, beautiful women, and then they go and have an affair. Well, what the hell is that all about? It's because there's no love there. There's no actual connection there. They're in the relationship for the wrong reasons, and they're staying together for the wrong reasons. And this is why a beautiful, wonderful, amazing, vibrant, amazing woman who has everything going for her can suddenly find herself in a situation with someone who treats her so badly and abuses her. And it all stems down to this, which is why I'm dressed up right now. So when I was younger, I did not understand a lot of human mentality when it came to dating. I understood motivations in other areas, but for dating, I really bought into that lie. And the lie is this, that you're going to be wandering around in the forest someday, dancing with your forest animals, being your vibrant, beautiful self, and your prince is just going to come. He's going to take one look at you. He's going to go, I know you. I've walked with you once upon a dream. And then you're going to dance and you're going to fall in love and it's going to be all romance and flowers. And then you live happily ever after. Yeah, I know. It sounds so ridiculous now that I look back. But see, that's what I grew up with. And I thought that if a guy likes a girl, that he's just going to go for it. He's just going to go after her. And he's just going to say, you are the fairest one I've ever met. You were made to finish my duet. And like, basically just sweep me off my feet. Here's the thing that got me in trouble. So when I was in high school and even in middle school, they had school dances. And what do you see in the movies is that the beautiful girl goes to the dance and then she's asked by the guy that she likes to dance with her. That never happened. In fact, I went my entire high school career not having a single guy ask me out. In fact, it was so pathetic that one of my somewhat friends in my sewing class ended up setting me up with a guy who was a year younger than me, who was also looking for a girlfriend. We had very little in common, but he wanted a girlfriend, I wanted a boyfriend, so we were just put together. And that was just supposed to work. And I tried everything to fall for this guy. And I couldn't feel it. I just wasn't feeling it. And there was nothing wrong with him. I mean, he was cute, he was smart, but that spark wasn't there. And I couldn't get that spark. And I couldn't even get that deep feeling and that connection. It just wasn't right. And this happened a lot. Like there would be a guy that I would really think was really cute. And I'd be like, oh my gosh, he's so cute. Oh, I hope that he'll see how pretty I am and he'll ask me out. I hope he'll start noticing me. I'm dressed all nice for him. And I mean, I would dress nice. I would wear the high heels. I would have the skirt. I would have like the cute little outfits. I would do my hair and my makeup. And I did it partly for me because I really like to look cute, but I also did it in the hopes that the guy would see how absolutely gorgeous I was, like Cinderella, like, oh my gosh, like you're the most beautiful woman in the world. And I need to find your glass slipper and fit it on your foot and we'll just live happily ever after. Like that was my mentality. It's like, if he sees how pretty I am, he's going to want to talk to me. I probably should have had more guy friends, but then in hindsight, I've recognized that a lot of my guy friends secretly had crushes on me. They've told me this. They're all happily married now and they have their wives, but they're like, you know, there was a time I was really, really into you. And I'm like, oh, really? I didn't realize that. It's like, yeah. And I mean, I tried to get your attention, but like you were always after some other guy and you didn't notice me. And I'm like, oh, well, and in some of those cases, those guys, it wouldn't have worked out and I wasn't attracted to them, but I didn't recognize just how many guys were actually falling in love with me that I didn't even notice. I was like, nobody loves me. Nobody wants me. Nobody notices me. No matter how pretty I am, nobody wants to ask me to dance. It wasn't until my 30s, which I am now, talking to guys that like we're just friends and they're like, you know, like I was painfully shy. Like there was a pretty girl and I wanted to talk to her, but I could never get up the nerve to talk to her. And I'd build it up in my head and I'd just never go over and talk to her. And I'm like, oh, that's so sad because I mean, like I would have talked to them, especially if I really liked them and I didn't know if they liked me. So like there were times where I started going through my journals and I'm like, well, there was this guy and he offered me a ride home and he was really sweet, but he never asked me out. And then I never saw him again after a couple of weeks. Like we were out of our school and we weren't in the same classes. And like, I never knew what happened. And I thought, well, maybe he's just not that into me. But all the signs were there. I just wasn't picking up on them because I was picking up on the wrong things. And this is what then led me into the second phase, which I am not proud of at all, which is I started to devalue myself. I started to give away part of my power, which I'm just going to say it. I got into a lot of flings, not too many, but if there was a guy and he seemed sort of interested in me, I was like, well, you know, at least he's interested. So I might as well just hop into bed with him. And it very rarely worked. Oh, hi, kitten. So, I mean, I didn't have a lot because I couldn't keep it up. I really wanted that connection. So maybe I would have like a hookup like every couple of years. And then it would be like, okay, well, like this is just not going anywhere. Like it was like, I'm going to use my sexuality to try to attract this guy. And then when he realizes how amazing I am, then he's also going to want to be my partner, which, by the way, ladies, do not do that. Okay. I have now since learned that that is the absolute last thing you want to do because it devalues you and it doesn't attract the right guys. And this leads to the next mistake, which is that I was attracting the wrong kinds of people. I was attracting the people who then would see how I was thinking, oh, well, I just want somebody to love me because nobody loves me. And then they would play the part of the prince. And this is how I got trapped, is I got played by somebody who acts like a prince in the beginning, and then he shows his true colors. And I had this with another guy where he had shown up. I'd met him on the bus. This was on my way to the mall. And then like we had the flirty eyes going and I'm like, oh, this guy really likes me. Oh my goodness. Like, and then he got off the bus and it seemed romantic at the time. And he's like, I just have to get your number. I have to take you out. But that first date, he's like, I can't believe this. Like, you're the most amazing, beautiful woman I've ever met. And like, it feels like fate. Red flag. serious red flag, but I didn't see it as a red flag because, again, I know you, I've walked with you once upon a dream, right? So like I thought, oh my gosh, my prince is here. Well, the prince, more likely he was basically using me. He happened to be working in a restaurant at the time as a chef, and he would call me after work being like 11, 12, 1 o'clock in the morning. And I would get in a cab. As I said, I'm not proud of this. And I would go to his house and we would stay the night. I would stay the night with him. And then in the morning, he would send me home. And I thought that that was like, he must be into me. But then he didn't call very often. And we only went to his house. This lasted for about 6 months. And I was really feeling ignored. And then, like, I just was like, he's not into me. He's using me. And I deserve better than that. So after getting up from his friend's house party, where I noticed that he was actually really in love with this friend that he had kept talking about over and over again. He'd always talked about her. It's like, no, you want her, but for some reason you're not going after her. So you're with me. And I deserve better than that. So I actually got up before he and she got up in the morning from the party. And I left. I walked down with my little high heels and I walked all the way down the hill and I never saw him again. But, you know, sometimes when things happen like that, you start to really wonder, men are jerks. And then what happened after that? It's like, all men are just after one thing. I'm done. I'm going to use this to my advantage. So that was my second part, is that now I was like, okay, that's it. I'm not going to ever fall in love with anyone. I'm just going to keep my heart closed and I'm just going to get mine and then I'm going to go. And then what happened after that, of course, is that I met my long-term partner who showed up when I was in that mentality of I'm just going to use these guys. So I went on a date with him. I wasn't really that sold on him. I'm like, I'm not going to see him again. But he kept calling and he kept saying, I just want to see you. I just want to see you. I just want to be with you. I just want this. Like, I like you a lot. And I think we have something special. And he bought me all these flowers and he took me out for fancy dates and like, he just spoiled me. And I let my guard down. But it wasn't love. Because again, he was just committed to having me as like that status symbol of that beautiful trophy on his arm. And like, I didn't see it. I didn't see it for 13 years. And I started to see it by the 11th year, but I still didn't see it fully until the 13th year, when I realized just how vibrant and alive I could be inside my own life and building up myself. And meanwhile, he had cheated on me with another woman and he'd gotten her pregnant. So like, I had been this absolutely devoted person to him and he treated me like garbage. And here is the big secret of why this happened. Why? Because I was focusing on attracting my partner just by, I'll just keep giving more. I'll just keep showing up more. I'll just be like, absolutely like, you are my world and nothing else. And I will drop everything for you. And I will just love you and support you. And like, you can treat me as badly as you want, but it's okay. It's okay. Because, you know, I'm so lucky to have you. And, you know, like, you're just having a bad day and it's okay. And like, no, it wasn't okay. And it wasn't okay that I sat in the corner waiting for guys to ask me to dance when, I mean, I could have just gotten up and danced myself and then naturally, like, I would have had a good time. I wouldn't have sat there all night thinking I wasn't loved if I had just gotten up and danced. But I didn't see it. And I could have just been friends with people and had things unfold organically. But the one thing that I probably could have done is recognize that men are just as scared as women when it comes to dating. And that this is what a friend said to me today, is like, I probably was quite intimidating because not only was I with my sparkly, happy personality, but I was also dressed to the nines, hoping that somebody would come up to me. But I had gotten to the point where I was just like, I was doing it for the wrong reasons. I wasn't doing it for myself. Now I got this dress because I freaking love red. I look badass in it. And like, I mean, I got these heels too because I love them. They're sparkly and they make me feel pretty. But like, for me, it was just, I did it for myself, but I also did it because I was hoping that I would attract a prince. And now I don't have that anymore. And this is the lesson I really want for all of you, especially if you're smart, successful, intelligent, and you have amazing friends in your life. And they are like, I don't know how you're still single, or I don't know why you're with this person that treats you like an option. I don't know why you're with this person who doesn't seem actually happy to be with you. I don't know why you're with this person who, when you're around them, they're not lighting up to see you, and they're not happy to be in your company, and that you have to do all these things just to get them to want to spend time with you, because they should just want to spend time with you. And this is something that I did, is I would do everything to try to make my partner want to spend time with me, to want to come home, because he would say, I don't want to come home. And like, I'd be like, well, what if I make the place nicer for you? But he should have just wanted to come home to be with me. If he'd really loved me, he would have seen that I was struggling and he would have come home to be with me. And that's the thing, is you need to be with someone who genuinely just wants to be with you, who, even if you lost all your money, would still want to just hang out. If you said, hey, we can't really go on an expensive trip or anything, or hey, you know, I'm really bogged down with work, but I'd love to see you. Can we just do like a work date? Can you just come over? Can we just hang? And they say, yeah, I want to do that. Or like in my case, I'm like, hey, you know, I'm heading down to the beach, or I'm heading down to the mall, and I got a little bit of time. Would you like to come see me? Like, I'm looking for that guy that's going to go like, yeah, I totally do. I'm totally going to seize that chance to come see you because I just really want to spend time with you. And you don't have to change anything about your plans right now, because like, I really want to spend time with you. And that's so different than how it used to be, where I would drop everything and I would just be like, yeah. Okay, well, you know, I was going to plan to play this game, but you know, you're more important, so I'll just do that. But you know what? When I did that, I ended up giving up a lot of my hobbies. I ended up giving up writing for 2 years. I ended up giving up playing video games for 2 years. I ended up not seeing my friends. So that's the message, really. It's like, you can't just dress up and look really fantastic and then sit in the corner all night. It doesn't work. You just have to genuinely love your life. And you genuinely have to be willing to be alone. You have to be happy with that. Like now, it's like, you know what? I'd love to have someone in my life. I'd love to just be able to sit there on the couch with them and have somebody put their arm around me and just be with me. And to be able to walk down at the beach and have somebody meet me up there. We're already there together, and just be with each other and just have that energy of just like being with someone, because it's all about, you want to marry your best friend. You really do. You want to marry that person who like you could have fun in a lineup. And like, yeah, you're going to fight, but like, even when you're fighting, you don't want to turn into each other's enemies. And that was the other thing, is that when I was fighting with my partner, I was always the enemy. There was no collaboration. There was no, let's work this together out as a team. This was, I was in trouble. I was the problem. And I never made him the problem. And that was the thing, is that I never, ever did half the things that he did to me. And it wouldn't have even crossed my mind because I had loved him, but I didn't love the real him. I loved the him that he pretended to be whenever he thought that I was slipping away. And that's a big, big lesson that I hope you take away from this. And as someone who is hanging around with some pretty high level people, I've really started to see it's like even they have problems. I mean, that's why celebrities can have some serious relationship drama. It's because sometimes they're just attracting the wrong people and they're doing it for the wrong reasons. I'm just going to add one more thing, is that a lot of people who became successful, sometimes we started from a place, first of all, where we felt that we had to compensate for something. In my case, I didn't see my beauty for years. Okay. I was skinny. I was short. I thought I was a nerd. I didn't see that I was actually, she's all that. What was that? Not Rachel McAdams, but the other one, Rachel Leigh Cook from She's All That. And like, I didn't have the glasses, but I did have like my hair back and I was just very artsy. I did try to glow up, but I didn't have the confidence. So like you can dress in the fancy clothes, but if you don't have the confidence and you're pretending and you're faking and you're not actually confident in who you are, then you attract somebody who can smell the blood. They can sense it. They can sense that insecurity in you. And instead of loving you, being like, oh my goodness, you're actually really scared, aren't you? Oh, okay, let me make you feel safer to open up to me. Instead, they're like, I can use this. I can use this. I can get something out of this person. So, I mean, I wanted the man who was going to see that I was the girl sitting in the corner, waiting for a guy to talk to her. And I would love that person and I would be so sweet and that I would be like the most amazing girlfriend ever. And that I had my own life going for me. And the guy would be like, wow, I want to be a part of that. And instead, I got, wow, she's got everything going for her, but she doesn't see it. She doesn't see who she is. And so I'm going to tell her, I'm going to build her up. But secretly, I'm doing it for me, because if I build her up, then she's going to keep devoting herself to me. And then I can take some of that light. I can take some of that. I can use that. And it's the worst thing ever. It's better to be single and love yourself than it is to be with a partner who is only using you for what they can get out of you. I'm just going to leave you with that. All right. And again, I had to share that. I had to share that today because I was in the coaching gym with two friends of mine and we were talking about anxiety and fear and talking to the pretty girl, and me being the only girl in the room. I'm like, well, you know what? That pretty girl that you were too scared to talk to and you canceled on her date, she probably really liked you. And then she went for your friend because she thought you hated her because you canceled on her. And it's like, it's sad. It's really sad. So for guys, sometimes that pretty girl that you're scared to talk to, she probably would love to talk to you too. And she's just waiting. And she's like, why doesn't he like me? So I'm just going to say that it's like, you got to build up your confidence and you got to recognize that every single one of us is terrified. And there's some of us that are terrified and we don't do anything about it. There's others of us that are terrified and we do it anyway because we know what the result can be on the other side. And then there's those of us that are terrified, but we can smell blood. So we're going to go for the weaker person or the one that's stronger, perceived to be stronger and have some of what we want, and we take it. But that's obviously not me. That's like humanity in a nutshell. There's sharks out there that are going to pretend to be like sheep, or I guess that analogy doesn't work, but wolves in sheep's clothing, basically. And they can smell the blood and they can see that you're actually a wounded sheep, but you're like the best cut on the whole meadow. And they're like, that sheep is going to taste real good. And that sheep doesn't realize how tasty it is. And that sheep, I'm going to befriend. And then I'm going to, yeah, it's like that. It's totally like that. And hey, if any of you out there are doing stuff with relationships, I know I've got a lot of coaches in my community, and you want me to talk on this topic, I'm always here. I've got my own thing that I'm doing with birth, and my calendar is getting pretty full at the moment. But, you know, my love language is bug me. Okay. My love language is bug me because I get so busy and then I'm talking to my friends and I'm loving on them, but I love you too. So if you do want to connect with me, all you have to do is bug me. Otherwise, I'm going to get busy doing 8 million different things because I love my life now. And I am just like, it's just awesome. When you finally recognize your worth, when you recognize who you are and how amazing you are, and you see your beauty and you see your compassion and you see what you really have to offer someone, you won't be sitting there in the corner and you won't be waiting for someone to talk to you. And you'll be like, okay, well, that person's busy, but you know what? I like them. So I'm just going to keep reaching out every once in a while. And if it works, it works. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. But it doesn't really mean that I am any less lovable. And I can just keep going out there again and again. And that is how I went from being a shy, terrified little wallflower who was prey for the sharks to just who I am now. Just happy and not waiting, but actively seeking and finding connections of people that I just absolutely love to talk to, and making sure that anybody who does enter my life treats me better than or as well as my very, very best friends. All right. So that's all I have for you today. I'll talk to you soon.